The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Women's Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericawomen.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to have you joining us today as we are in the fall. We're in October, getting closer and closer to the holidays, and it's a great time to be talking about intentions and taking off the mask to really step fully into your potential, because I believe as we're looking to set intentions and move forward powerfully, that we need to really be checking in and make sure that we're really setting intentions that are in alignment with who we truly are and want to be. And it's a great time to pause and just check in and see, is there a mask that you're wearing on some level, that you're hiding in some respect from yourself or from others? It's great to check in once in a while and see if there's a mask that you've started to put up, because that can start disconnecting you from others around you. It can start interfering with your message and can actually be holding you back from your potential and all that you're looking to do. Today, we're really going to be talking about this, how to take off your mask so that you can step fully into your potential, and then setting intentions powerfully, tapping into resources and ways to do this that I think are very unique and very powerful and can help move you forward really powerfully and in alignment with who you are and who you're called to be as you're stepping forward in 2016. But guess what? It starts now. So I want to thank you for joining us today and being part of this discussion. We are here to serve and support you as we really look at how do we move forward in alignment with who we are. How do we set intentions that are really going to move forward? Not just setting intentions because it would be nice, but really setting intentions in a very deliberate way to actually move forward in them. And then again, taking off that mask. Let's take a deep breath together. And as I was preparing for the show today, I had a couple things laid upon my heart around this subject matter. And I did a presentation this last weekend at a conference, and the title was Unmask Your Potential. And one of the insights I was really hit with as I was preparing for that presentation, and it came to my heart again today, is that our potential is far bigger than I believe we see sometimes. And I believe we actually need support. It's not a solo journey. People outside of ourselves as well, supporting us on our journey, helping us see our potential in a way we may not be able to see on our own. Because we can see with our perspective, we can see with how we see the world, but we can't always see what we're stepping into, what we're growing into become. And so it can be a little bit difficult to really step into your potential because you're saying essentially yes to things you haven't quite become yet. You aren't quite yet, but you're fully stepping into and moving forward in. And I want to encourage you to really look at what kind of support do you need today to encourage you on your journey to be able to take off that mask, sometimes the way we hide or the image we're trying to put forward, or it can be a role that we've taken on and maybe gotten a little bit lost in. You know, what support is it that you need to start taking off that mask a little bit more and more clearly seeing your potential? And here's the thing I find with this. A lot of times it requires saying yes, but not knowing the how first. Saying yes to, I'm willing to become more of what I need to become, to be more of what I'm called to be, to learn what I need to learn so that I can fully step into my potential. And it takes a yes. And then we start figuring out how, what do I need? How do I get there? What are the steps? Where do I need to grow? What do I need to tap into to become that, to be that, to step into that? And sometimes it means being still and listening. Sometimes it's tapping into others, a community of support and encouragement. We need that, especially if we're stepping into a place that we haven't been before. When we're stretching into a new arena, it's so important to have support along the way. So I want to celebrate that you're saying yes to being on this show today, to listening, to leaning in, saying yes to you. And my guest, Dr. Leslie, and I really want to lean back into you and support you on your journey. And a lot of what Dr. Leslie is going to share with you today will be some of that how. Ways to do that. We're going to give you that practical and profound support real time while we're here together on the show. But before we get there, it's important to know where you stand in stepping into your potential. Are you willing to step a little bit more into what you're called to be or do on a personal level, on a business level? We get to make this choice. And I invite you to take a moment today and really see, are you willing? Are you wanting to step forward a little bit more towards your potential? Are you willing and trusting that the how will come, but it's really a decision now that we get to make. Are we willing? And what do we need to encourage us? So let's go ahead. And those of you who are driving, please stay safe. Eyes open, alert, no texting and driving. But I invite you to just still a little bit inside and listen to what we're going to walk through right now. For those of you who are able to, I encourage you to feel the chair fully supporting you. Put both feet on the floor. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head. Go ahead and take a deep breath. And as you let the air out, go ahead and close your eyes. So deep breath. Closing your eyes. And in this still space, this quiet time together, as we connect heart, mind, body, and soul, are you willing to step forward into your potential, step by step? Are you a yes? And if so, what is it that you need? What's laid upon your heart that will support you as you're stepping into your potential? And just listen for a moment. Sometimes it's a thought, a feeling, a picture, a memory, an image. See what it is that you need today as you're saying yes and stepping just a little bit more into your potential. When you're ready, and you've received that information, I encourage you to come back into the room, open up your eyes, and write down what was laid upon your heart. That if you're a yes, that you're a yes, let's declare it and celebrate it. And what is it that you need? It's a lot easier to recognize the support that's all around you and inside you when you know what you're looking for. So I invite you to keep that top of mind and really lean into what it is that you need to serve and support you in stepping further and further into your potential. And I know the wisdom and information that's going to be shared today, both that you're receiving as you interact with the show and that Dr. Leslie is going to be sharing, is going to provide you a lot of the how so that you can have that support real time as you're stepping into your potential. Let's take a breath together. Fabulous. And Dr. Leslie, I didn't know if you had something laid upon your heart that you would like to share with our listeners today.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you again for inviting me to your show today. What was laid upon my heart when you were speaking was the concept of momentum. And momentum really came up loud and clear for me, that I know that we're all on a momentum in our own personal journeys. So I just want to encourage all of your listeners that when you take those steps and you listen to your heart, you are tapping into your own personal momentum. And there is a sequence to that, and there's a trust to the momentum.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Dr. Leslie, do you mind expanding a little bit on what you mean by momentum? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page as you're sharing your wisdom with us.
Sure. And I love the analogy of, if there's this big, huge boulder, you can't push it alone. But once you get that boulder moving, all you need to do is keep just tapping it, and that boulder will continue to roll. That is an analogy of momentum. Sometimes our yes or our ideas feel like that big, huge boulder. All we need to do is just get that idea moving. Sometimes we need to collaborate and ask other people to support and assist us moving that boulder. But once you get those ideas moving, there is a natural law of physics that will keep that idea moving, and that is momentum.
Perfect. I love this share and the analogy that you gave us. Thank you, Dr. Leslie. I appreciate that, because it can be a lot easier. We're going to talk about this as well when we go along our show together, is that once that boulder's going and moving forward, it just takes a little bit of energy to keep it going. But guess what? It also takes a lot to stop it and then start it again. So I think what was really laid up on my heart with your share, and as I was tapping in, is really that consistency. Really building a habit of connecting, of going in, of making these choices to keep saying yes to the things that are moving us in the direction of our potential and no to the things that are not. And really building a practice and a habit of leaning into those things that we are called to bring forward, and making sure that we're checking in, not just operating in autopilot and automatic and letting the day fly by, but really intentionally choosing how we're spending our time, how we're spending our energy, and making sure if we glance over to the side there, that that boulder is continuing to move in the right direction. And listeners, there's actually a special opportunity coming up in December, and Dr. Leslie's part of this as well, that we're going to be doing a telesummit that is free to participate in, where I'm interviewing 28 experts from December 1st all the way to December 7th, talking about how to stay ahead of the curve in your life and business, really practical and profound steps. So I encourage you to lean into that, listen for updates and information. We'd love to include you in that so that you can really keep getting ongoing support to move forward in the things that matter to you most. We are getting ready to go to our first commercial break, and as we do that, I encourage you to really lean in, listen to what it is that you need, and we will look forward to interviewing Dr. Leslie on a deeper level right when we get back. Talk to you in a moment.
Your favorite Voice America Talk Radio Network shows and hosts are in your car, outdoors, and wherever you need them to be. Listen anywhere. Get our mobile app for iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android at the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for people like you. With just one 7-minute audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities. This is a dynamic way to share your message, reach more people, and expand your impact. Apply now at yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent. Finalists get to audition live in front of community leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Don't wait. Find out more. Visit yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed that commercial break and you got an opportunity to really think about what it is that you need today. And I invite you to really start creating a practice of that. It's so easy to jump right in the day and forget to stop for a moment, breathe, listen in, and see what it is that you need today. What is it that you're called to bring forward? And then looking at the activities laid out before you that day, are you making choices to move you further towards that? Or does there need to be a little bit of a restructuring, a recalibration there? And the more we can develop the practice, I believe that will get you more consistent results and keep that momentum that Dr. Leslie was talking about, supporting you and moving forward with less effort and more consistent results. So I encourage you to build that practice into your life. Well, I'm excited to introduce our guest expert for today. She is a good friend of mine. I'm honored to call her my friend. I think you're going to so value the information that she shares from such a grounded, heartfelt place with a lot of knowledge and practical scientific information behind her as well. Let me tell you a little bit about her official bio here. She's the creator and founder of The Wow Talks, which is Women of Wellness, The Wow Talks. She has a doctorate in chiropractic, a Bachelor of Arts in psychology. She's the owner of a wellness clinic, has over 10 years or about 10 years in a corporate financial background. She's owned 2 fitness companies, and she's all about connection, collaboration, and celebration, and believes, heart, mind, body, and soul, believes healing is an inside job. Please lean in with me as we welcome the amazing Dr. Leslie Hewitt to the show. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you.
Excited to have you here. And I love to start on a personal level here, because I have the honor and privilege of knowing you and having you share some of your heart with me. But I would love if you would take a moment to share with our listeners why the work that you do, supporting women so powerfully in the different ways that you do that. Why is that personally so important to you?
It's such a personal story for me because I am just thrilled to be in this time on the planet as a woman. I have, in my lifetime, seen women emerge and wake up and speak up and take up positions of leadership that have influence and impact. And, you know, to take it to a real personal story, I was raised by a very powerful mother. But she died from a drug prescription. She took a drug prescription, went home to bed, and never woke up. So it really, really spoke deep within me that my biggest mentor in life didn't listen to her own inner calling. And she knew she did not feel well when she was prescribed that drug, but she continued to take it because her MD told her to continue. And so it awoke something really deep within me that I just need to remind women to listen within and listen to that inner guidance at all levels, from what you're being told to do, to your job, to your intentions, your ideas, and your life purpose.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I love the work that you do, really empowering people to tap into their inner wisdom and listening and giving it value, because I think what your mother did, we can do. where we let others override that for a variety of different reasons rather than really fully honoring and leaning into saying yes to the wisdom and information we're being given. So thank you for sharing. Now, why is the fall the best time to set intentions? And let me pause for a moment here and really set the stage here. Dr. Leslie is going to be really helping us around intentions. So the first part, I was talking about masks and taking some of them off and how to really build the practice of stepping forward in our potential. And part of that process, I believe, is setting intentions and stepping into them. And so Dr. Leslie is really going to give us wisdom and insight today on how to do that. And fall might be an unusual time in a lot of people's minds to be talking about intentions. I think there's this cultural way we start approaching this, maybe December, but usually in January, sometimes February, that we start setting intentions for the new year and moving forward in them. So Dr. Leslie, I'd love to understand, why is fall actually the best time to start setting intentions?
Well, we all know that the fall time of year is the time of harvest for our farmers. And the really beautiful thing about this time of year is you are in harvest as well. It's a time when you start reflecting. Even in corporate America, this is when they start their budgets for next year. They start laying down their budgets in the fourth quarter, so they're ready for next year. So what I recommend in the fall is that you begin to live in the creation of your desires. And I previously mentioned the power of momentum. The power of the harvest season is you are in momentum. You are starting to reap what you've sowed, and there is momentum in focusing on what have I achieved this year so far. And there's something really, really powerful when momentum is your friend and you're aware of how you feel. And with this concept of momentum at harvest season, I want you to start thinking about, what do I need to do different for next year? And you can start pre-paving the ideas, your thoughts, your emotions, and you'll be creating that momentum so that when January does arrive, which is the typical time for New Year's resolutions, you're already in the momentum. You're all ready to go on January 1st.
Beautiful. And I love that, because momentum is your friend then, and it's working for you because it's already in play. Beautiful. Now, I've heard you use this phrase called ancient spirit technology. Do you mind sharing around intentions? Do you mind sharing what that is and how that ties into setting intentions?
Yes, and I love ancient spirit technology. It's 3 words that I put together because ancient meaning we're seeing it in all the scriptures and texts and Sanskrit, and a lot of the ancient books that we read talk about the power of our inner guidance. And so I call it ancient spiritual technology because we can all tap into something that lives within us at a deep, deep cellular level. It's also in our DNA. And what I mean by ancient spirit technology is your inner guidance, the wisdom, that gut feeling, telepathy, deja vu, the dreams you have every night, those inner words that come up that tell you what your purpose, your virtues, and your core values are. That is what I mean by ancient spirit technology. It lives within each of you on the call at a deep, deep level, and I'm just encouraging you to start tapping into that.
Beautiful. And why is it important to be tapping into it when we're talking about intentions? How do those tie together?
Well, each of us has what I call our own spiritual signature. You have your own personality, your upbringing, your family of origin, your beliefs, those cultural values. You're your own unique brand. And if you can tap into that inner voice, you're going to bring out a signature that is so unique on the planet. And I believe that each of you on the call has an idea or a business plan or a goal that you want to bring out to the world. And if you start tapping into listening to that spirit signature that you have and trust the guidance and the momentum, I promise you that you will come out with a really unique business idea that all of us are just waiting for.
I love it. I want to underline this and say yes, 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 because we are all so uniquely made. And sometimes we let this get shut down a little bit because perhaps this unique business idea that comes forward or another perspective, or suddenly we see a gap out there others don't seem to see. And then we see the bridge of how to bridge over that gap or fill the need that we see. And we'll share that with people. And they'll look at us sometimes like, I don't see that gap, or I don't understand what you're doing, or it hasn't been done that way before. You can't do it that way. That's not how it's done. And what I want to tell you, when you hear that, what I want you to hear instead is opportunity. You're the first one there. You're the one that has been given the way to bridge that gap, the eyes to see the gap there, and then the ability, the idea, the new way of doing things to help people through that in a very unique and powerful way. So I encourage you, especially if you hear people say things like that they haven't seen that before, they didn't notice it before, or that's not how things are done, just know you're the first one there. And what I want to encourage you to hear is opportunity, and invite you to lean in, because that's one of the greatest gifts you can give people all around you, is being willing to bring your unique wisdom and perspective and gifts to the world. It's a huge, huge gift. Oh, Dr. Leslie, I didn't know if you had something to add on to that, but I got very excited when you were sharing.
Yes, and what I would love just to add to that is you are the leading edge of your own thoughts. So, like Rebecca said, if people are saying, oh, that's never been done before, that is always a magical aha, okay? And I encourage you to start going with your own intuition. Some of the greatest businesses and achievements that have occurred have come from never being created before. And I have a motto that I love to live by, and it's fast is better than best. And sometimes you just need to move fast, because I guarantee if you're thinking about it, it is in universal intelligence, which is other language that I use. It's like we're all swirling with ideas, and it's happened to me many times where I've come up with this amazing idea, and boom, somebody else is already doing it. So I encourage you, if you have something new that people are saying, hey, that's never been done before, just do it.
Yes. And the how will come after, I promise. I promise, promise. Well, we are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. I encourage you to listen in to your own intuition. Listen in to your ancient spirit technology. And as you come back to join us for the next segment, I also invite you to listen to our sponsors, because these are organizations that are leaning into you, that believe this type of work of empowering women around the world is important, and they're putting their name, brand, and resources behind us. So I invite you to listen into the commercials as you come back and join us, and we'll look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Your favorite Voice America Talk Radio Network shows and hosts are in your car, outdoors, and wherever you need them to be. Listen anywhere. Get our mobile app for iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android at the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for people like you. With just one 7-minute audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities. This is a dynamic way to share your message, reach more people, and expand your impact. Apply now at yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent. Finalists get to audition live in front of community leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Don't wait. Find out more. Visit yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you had a nice break and you got a moment to tap in and listen. And as we come back, I was going to talk further with Dr. Leslie about a few things that we started to touch on a little bit. And I find in the work that you do, Dr. Leslie, you really blend science and spirit and weave them together so powerfully. And even in how you put ancient spirit technology together, that's really weaving science and spirit together. So do you mind sharing a little bit about this weaving together? Why is that important as we're setting intentions?
Thank you. That is such a great question. And a lot of what I'm researching right now is science and ancient spiritual texts. And what I love about merging science and spirituality is they support each other. So, for example, we all know who Albert Einstein is. He developed the theory of relativity. And then there's this other guy named Max Planck, and he's sort of the father of quantum physics. And what the science is telling us is that we're predominantly space, which is so cool for me. If we're predominantly space, it means we're predominantly vibration. Mm-hmm. And so in spirit, we all know that there is power in prayer, there's power in meditation and setting intentions. And from the science perspective, when you can go into deep intention with meditation and prayer, which, by the way, science has validated that there is power in prayer, changes do occur, what happens spiritually is we can launch our requests from our space, from our cellular beliefs, out into the field. And that's how scientists talk about that space around us is the field. And when we launch our intentions into the field, other people feel it. So what I always say in my own intentions is people, places, and situations are going to line up that are in the same vibration as me. I am going to attract like-minded people, places, situations, and opportunities based on my very specific requests. And that right there is the merge between science and spirituality.
Beautiful. And I love this as we're looking at intentions. And I do. I love how you're tying together the space and vibration. Because if we can, in a sense, send our vibration out to the world and really claim what we want with that and what we're sending out with that and what it attracts, that's a really powerful place to be. And doing that around intentions, is there a specific way you might advise that we do that we're kind of influencing the intentions that we're setting around this vibration concept? Or are there ways that we can be deliberate about that?
Yes, and there's a famous quote, energy flows where intention goes. And it's a famous quote, so I want to repeat that. Energy flows where intention goes. And so I think it's really important to really access your own inner guidance through the words you choose to use, through your thoughts. I believe in journaling and using vision boards so that you can constantly have those images in front of you. Be mindful of the things you say every day, and be aware of the situations you get yourself into. So when Rebecca says be deliberate, I think it's really important for all of us. I think we all can get sloppy in our own lives and in our own vibrations. So I encourage you to harness your energy and start setting your intentions very deliberately with journaling, vision boards. By all means, get on calls like this where you can be reminded of things that you already know and start harnessing your thoughts, your beliefs, and the habits that you have every day. And I love to use this terminology, start creating rituals and routines. And I want you to spell rituals, not RITUALS, but RICHUALS. Start creating rituals. And I guarantee they will enrich the energy and the vibration within you that will harness that deliberate intention that you have for your life and for your purpose.
I have a question about this, Dr. Leslie, and it's a little off of some of the things we'd planned on talking about. Is it okay if I go there with you?
Sure.
So just as you're sharing, it really came to my spirit. I love how you're changing the spelling of rituals to rich, RICHUALS. Really powerful shift. And how we're being deliberate about what we're choosing to bring into our sphere, what we're saying yes to, being intentional about what we're doing and what we're telling ourselves. But if we look at the flip side of this is where my question is. Can we be actually intentionally, in a sense, setting intentions that are not serving us when we don't really harness our thoughts, or we're focused on negative things, or we're focused on worrying? Are we actually bringing those vibrations, the things that we're worried about, the things that we don't want, if we put a lot of energy on those, are we actually bringing those into our vibrational field?
Absolutely. Everything you think about is coming into the field. So what the science is telling us is that we have approximately 60,000 thoughts a day. A lot of them are subconscious and unconscious. And for a lot of people, 80% of those thoughts are unsupportive. So what I encourage people to do is train your brain for greatness. It's like going to the gym for a workout, except this time you're doing it in your thoughts. And a really good habit to get into is to start becoming the observer of your own thoughts, so that you're not in the mix and the mess of it, but you sort of separate yourself, become unattached, and start being the observer. So here's an example. If you're driving in the car and someone pulls in front of you and you go, oh, and you feel that sense of anger and anxiety coming into your body, a lot of people, myself included, I'll realize, I'm 10 blocks down the road and I'm still in that energy field of anger and anxiety, blaming and complaining that this person just cut me off, we could have got into an accident, and then I can spiral into some negative, stinking thinking. What I encourage you to do is to stop the thought and become the observer, and just notice that you went into an angry or an anxiety state, and start having a conversation to slow that down and start replacing it with some better thoughts like happiness, joy. And what I do to train my brain for greatness if I get into some negative thoughts is I like to replace that with creative thoughts. And so I'll go into maybe some of my business processes that need some working on, and I immediately am training my brain for greatness to get out of that negative energy field into a more positive energy field. So that's just a really good tool right there, is become the observer and start getting into those 60,000 thoughts that are unsupportive, or 80% of them are, so they say, and start sort of breaking them down and capturing what I call your default modes. Because we all have default modes, whether it's fear, anger, anxiety, shame, blame, whatever it is. Start capturing them from the place of the observer and start replacing those thoughts with creativity, curiosity, forgiveness, happiness, joy, appreciation, gratitude. Those are good replacement thoughts.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love this observer place because it's not judgment, it's observer. Oh, notice that I'm doing this, and how do I, now that I know this, want to shift this? And my grandmother had a way of dealing with this, specifically with traffic. She actually would send them blessings, that they would get to wherever they're going safely, because they must be in a hurry, that they will get to where they need to be in a safe way. And then she would just move on to the next thing for herself. She would always send them blessings, which I thought was really beautiful. And she was choosing how to perceive things and how she was going to interact with them, really, in a sense, choosing her thoughts and energy around things. And so there's a tip or a suggestion, an idea that you can bring forward. Now, Leslie, I know that you have a lot of research that you have done around language. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about language? And I know that you've put something powerfully together around that.
Yes, thank you. So I have noticed as I'm studying a lot of the ancient scripture and also science, I'm really working on merging the two. I've noticed that words are a key place, and we've all heard of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It all comes from language and how that affects us neurologically. And our words affect our thoughts, emotions, and feelings. And in fact, for those of you that have been raised in the Christian culture, for example, and there's a lot of scripture that says this as well, in the beginning was the Word. And so what's really cool about that for me is if the beginning is the Word, we better start being super mindful of the language that we're using. And so I've been studying a lot of words and paying attention to my own words and researching words. And I'm realizing that there's a lot of words we're using that have lower vibration if we talk about the field and vibration and collective consciousness. And there's words that have higher vibration that can attract and set intentions with purpose and integrity. So I just want to remind all your listeners today to start being really mindful of the words that you use on a day-to-day basis.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I know that you've put together an amazing gift for our listeners. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that today?
Sure. So I'm writing a book called The New Glossary, and I very deliberately used the word glossary because it's a word that we learned in the first grade, our glossary. So the New Glossary is using words that can set very deliberate tone and intention in the field. And so my gift is I just want to give you a sneak peek of the New Glossary with some language that you're using daily that maybe you might want to refine.
Beautiful. To increase the vibration versus using language that could be decreasing our vibration. Is that a true statement?
Yeah. For example, and this is not in the New Glossary, I'm going to be giving you some really juicy words.
Actually, let me cut you off right there just because we're going to use that as a teaser because we're about to go to a commercial break.
Great.
So, you listeners, you want to make sure you come back for our exciting closing segment so that you can hear these juicy tips and words that Dr. Leslie is going to be sharing with us. So we will look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Your favorite Voice America Talk Radio Network shows and hosts are in your car, outdoors, and wherever you need them to be. Listen anywhere. Get our mobile app for iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android at the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for people like you. With just one 7-minute audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities. This is a dynamic way to share your message, reach more people, and expand your impact. Apply now at yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent. Finalists get to audition live in front of community leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Don't wait. Find out more. Visit yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break and that you're actually sitting on the edge of your chair wanting to hear these juicy tips and suggestions and information that Dr. Leslie is going to share with us as she expanded a little bit more on her glossary that she's been putting together. So, Dr. Leslie, do you mind sharing what you were going to share with us before the break?
Yes, I am going to share just 2 words, just a little sneak peek of the new glossary. So the first word is just. A lot of people use the word just in sentences like, I just want to add some ideas. Just diminishes what you're saying. The second word I want to share with you is actually, which I use all the time. Actually, this is what I was thinking. Actually is another word that diminishes the sentence and your vibration. So I'm just going to leave you with those 2 words, and I have other words that I want to share with you that are going to remind you how to raise your vibration, to set your intentions with deliberate energy, and how to maximize your ability to influence and impact your communities.
Love it. I have 2 questions now. The first one.
Of course you do.
With those 2 examples that you shared with us, could we remove those 2 words and have a much stronger sentence? It almost sounded like we didn't even need to put a replacement in.
Those 2 words do not need, and there is a place to use those 2 words, but I recommend in the beginning to remove them completely, to practice your language without those 2 words, and eventually you will learn how to put those words back in and use them with intention.
Beautiful. And then my second question, and I just see. see
how that happened? It happens naturally. And so there, thank you. Thank you for role modeling how those words slip in.
Absolutely. Behind the scenes, speaking of role model, I'm going to bring up our conversation that we had behind the scenes. And it had to do with being a radio show host and interviewing. And Dr. Leslie paid me a compliment, which I so appreciated, about the interview style that I have and how I run the show and that sort of thing. And what I shared with her is when I was approached to be a radio show host, it wasn't on my list of possibilities. I didn't see it in my realm of potential, but I said yes anyway. And then I learned how. I built the skill set. I leaned into that because people around me could see that potential and were approaching me with the opportunity. I didn't wait to figure out how and all the steps and what are all the things that I need to do. I took a deep breath and I actually sought inner wisdom and guidance on, is this something to say yes to or a no to? And I got a yes, a leaning into it. And so I said yes, even being scared about it, nervous. I was not sure how to handle the technology, all of those different things. And I was able to learn and grow in the process. And I love doing it. So Dr. Leslie, I thank you for the compliment. And what made me want to share, she said, well, that's role modeling it. Exactly. So I got to role model just and actually, I forget which word it was now. So
yes, just
subconscious.
And actually.
Yeah, how it comes forward, as well as wanted to share a lot of the things that we can enjoy and serve a lot of people at and be really strong in are on our potential. They're on a list, they're on our horizon, and we may not see them, but others do. And I encourage you to lean in, to really tap into your inner wisdom. And if you get a yes, say yes. Don't wait for all the I need to know how stuff. You'll figure that out after by tapping into the wisdom, tapping into resources around you. Thank you so much, Dr. Leslie, for being on the show today, for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us. And I wanted to give you a moment if you had last thoughts, tips, suggestions that you wanted to share with our listeners today.
Well, I want to thank you for role modeling how you leveraged momentum, how you stepped into the opportunity in being a radio show host. And I just appreciate how you do that. You do that naturally and organically. And I just want to remind your listeners that there is some expansion that is required. I know from myself and knowing you too, Rebecca, when you say yes, you get into a place of uncomfortability. And so I just encourage the listeners today that that is part of the growth process, is being uncomfortable. And I just want to remind you there is a level of feeling not only uncomfortable but fraudulent. And I don't mean fraudulent breaking the law. I mean sometimes you don't feel like you're going to do that growth or you're not the right person. I encourage you to allow yourself to feel uncomfortable and to feel fraudulent and trust the momentum, trust your inner guidance, and just know when you set intentions into the field, you will align with the perfect people, places, situations, and opportunities, and that includes the support and structures that will surround you. And so I just want to thank you, Rebecca, for role modeling how you've done that and how you continue to show us how to leverage opportunity as it shows up.
Thank you, Dr. Leslie. I take that in. It is my honor and privilege. And listeners, I encourage you to say yes when you feel that prompting and you feel that call. It's so worth the journey. Even the part that's uncomfortable, it allows you to stretch and to grow and go into new places you never would have gone before or thought of going. And you can find amazing richness, if we go back to your word there, and rituals and routines that help you align to exactly what you're called to do and what your potential is. And I want to encourage you to be willing to be a little uncomfortable as you're growing, as you're expanding, you're adjusting, and allow your mind, body, soul, and spirit to do that on the journey. And here's a secret, not a secret, but something I haven't shared very often, so it's a secret no more. My biggest fear on my first show, it wasn't so much about interviewing people. There was a little bit of anxiety there, but I love learning and I love asking questions. So for that part was very comfortable and actually exciting to me. My worst fear was things getting disconnected or not using the microphone right or something like that. So I double, triple checked everything I had practiced over and over and over before the first show. And somehow there was a technology glitch and my whole system went dead, just as they said, and joining you live, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. And I didn't know everything had gone dead. So I started the show and I kept talking and I was wondering why everyone was being so quiet. And they were calling me, trying to get me connected because something had obviously gone wrong with my computer system. And they were calling me, but I didn't want to answer because it's live, right? It's a live show. So I can't answer the calls. But finally, that intuition came up and I knew something was wrong. Probably about 6-7 minutes in. I had continued on for a while and finally picked up the phone and I thought, well, I'll somehow work this into the show then if I shouldn't be answering the call because I know something is off. And that's where they said, Rebecca, you're not live. Everyone's listening to music right now. They're on hold. We're going to wire you in by the phone and we're changing the structure of the show. Go. And I didn't quite know what the new structure was. And so I just went and I started again. And I actually was much stronger the second time because my voice wasn't wavering anymore. I was representing my people. It was me versus technology and my guests, and I wanted to take care of them and really serve everybody who was listening. If you ever get a chance to listen to that first show, that's a behind the scenes moment. And I'll tell you, facing that fear right off, I had fear. I didn't have that fear anymore on future shows. And I knew worst case if everything got disconnected, I could still continue the show. And I knew how to do that now. Sometimes those things that feel like the worst thing that can happen can actually be a huge gift in that growth process because that fear was completely eliminated. And it gave me a lot more confidence for future shows that whatever came, I could still bring forward something that would serve and I could still be responsive and help and make a difference. So hope that serves you. And if you do get a chance to listen to that first show, now you know what was going on behind the scenes as we were connecting and making the show work to continue to serve and support each of you. I want to thank you for being on the show today. I wanted to make sure I let you know how to access Leslie's gift. You simply go to Radio Gifts, it's plural because there's multiple gifts, .net. Again, that's radiogifts.net. You will see some gifts there from me, as well as the gift that Dr. Leslie Hewitt is making available to you. I encourage you to lean in, say yes to that valuable gift and support from her. And I encourage you this week to spend time setting intentions, being aware of your language to yourself and others, really leaning into bringing you and your potential forward. You are absolutely needed in this world, of great value. There's nobody else just like you. And the greatest gift you can bring to those around you is saying yes to being all of you. And wherever you go, whatever you do, may you always, always bloom where you're planted and shine. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Women's Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.